Nestled in the heart of a quiet town, the Miller family, Tom, Sarah, and their two children, Emma and Jake, were the picture of happiness. Their home, a charming two-story house with white shutters, stood as a testament to years of hard work and dreams fulfilled. The neighborhood, lined with tall oak trees and friendly neighbors, seemed untouched by the chaos of the outside world. One evening, as they sat around the dinner table, the conversation turned to their favorite movies. Jake, the youngest, enthusiastically described a scene from a horror film he'd secretly watched. Emma rolled her eyes, but couldn't suppress a grin. Sarah playfully scolded him, while Tom laughed and ruffled his hair. It was a moment of pure, familial joy. That night, as the family settled into their routine, Sarah heard a faint sound, a soft, almost imperceptible whisper. She dismissed it as the wind rustling through the trees. But as she passed the living room, the whispering seemed to intensify, filling the silence like an uninvited guest. The first real sign came 2 nights later. Emma woke up to find Jake's bed empty. Panicked, she rushed to find her parents. They discovered him sitting in the hallway, staring blankly at the wall. When asked what he was doing, Jake simply whispered. The next morning, Jake handed Sarah a drawing. It depicted their family standing together, but in the background loomed a tall, faceless figure. Sarah laughed nervously and asked Jake who it was. "He's the man who visits me at night," Jake replied casually. That evening, Tom decided to investigate. He stayed up late, watching the backyard from the kitchen window. The swing set's chains creaked softly, though there was no wind. A chill ran down his spine, but he told himself it was just his imagination. Determined to find answers, Sarah ventured into the attic the next day. Among the forgotten belongings, she discovered an old diary. The entries, written by the house's previous owner, spoke of sleepless nights and a shadowed visitor who brought fear and despair. That night, the family was jolted awake by a loud bang. They rushed to the hallway, where the light in Emma's room flickered ominously. Emma sat upright in bed, her eyes wide with terror. "He's in the room," she whispered. Desperate for answers, the Millers invited a medium to their home. The medium, an elderly woman with piercing eyes, conducted a session in the living room. She claimed the house was a nexus of unresolved energy, attracting entities that fed on fear. During the session, the medium's voice grew hoarse as she recited an incantation. The air grew thick, and a dark shape began to form in the center of the room. It was faceless, but emanated a chilling malevolence. The family huddled together, paralyzed with fear. After the encounter, the Millers sought professional help. The therapist suggested the events might be manifestations of collective stress and unspoken tensions within the family. But deep down, they knew the entity was real. Despite their fear, the Millers resolved to face their ordeal together. They made a pact to communicate openly and support each other. Slowly, the disturbances began to fade, but the memory of the faceless terror remained. Even now, years later, the family occasionally feels its presence. A faint whisper in the wind, a shadow that doesn't belong. They've learned to live with the unknown, finding strength in their bond and their resilience.